Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're playing a game called Lords of the Fallen. It's an old game, about 2 years old now, year and a half. I got it on Steam for cheap, which is why I got it at all. I heard it was a little bit like Dark Souls. I figured I'd go ahead and show you what the game is like in the beginning parts of the game, just to kind of give you a feel for why people give this a bad review, and why some other people give it a good review. I personally have been playing, I didn't play that much. Obviously you can see my first save there is about 18 minutes. And maybe in a second you'll find out why. I'm going to go ahead and pick a brawler this time. This is the character creation screen. It's a little bit to get used to. It's hard to play this game without comparing it directly to Dark Souls. And I think that might be a mistake, because if you've played Dark Souls and then you start playing this, you're going to think that this sucks. You are. You're just going to hands down hate this game. At least I started to. I'm still trying to give it a bit of a chance, but I'll show you guys why. I'm going to skip over this really cool, it is a cool cinematic, but I'm going to skip over it. If I can. Is it going to let me? There we go.
The monastery's ahead. I wonder if it is.
I'm going to skip over all the cinematics, just in case you do want to actually play this game. You can see them yourself. They're kind of cool. I know I keep using the word cool, but it is true. Alright, so the first part that they show you, this is the first playable part of the game. It says, approach it. Okay. And now it says, target it. Just like in Dark Souls. And it says, you know, block. Okay, cool. Just like in Dark Souls. And then just like in Dark Souls, you hit right button to hit stuff for a light attack. And then you hit, we'll go ahead and dodge. You hit right button, or right trigger rather, to really hit hard. So I mean that's kind of a really simple like tutorial, but I gotta be honest with you, this little weird tutorial here was more than anything just really annoying, because I just want to, like, with Dark Souls they just throw you in, you just go. There's no extra stuff, you just go. You know, if you can't figure it out, you can't figure it out, but it very much makes you feel like in Dark Souls, it makes you feel like if you screw up, it's your fault, not the game's. So this is kind of cool, I guess. You get to talk to people, and there's, you know, options for how you're going to be talking to people. But watch how they move.
You're still losing blood, Caslow. The Rogar got you good.
Harkin doesn't really move weird, but he will. There you go. Looks like he's got something wrong with his head. I've seen that in the cinematics, and I've seen that in this entire conversation so far.
You're no use to me if you bleed to death. I will try to.
Nobody moves their head like that unless they are trying to act, and I mean really failing at it too.
The man we're looking for.
You can see that, like it's. If you've ever watched the old Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or any of those shows that involve costumes without mouths or a face, you know, really old ones from like the 90s and 80s and 70s and so on and so forth, people moved like that because they needed to, because they had to have some kind of expression, because they had no facial expression. But you can see these guys have facial expressions. He looks normal and natural when he's just talking like he is just now. And you can move a little bit. If you're hurt, you're gonna move a little bit. But nobody moves their head like that. So the cinematics are a little bit weird. I do like the way everything looks. Like the armor's pretty badass. But before I get into combat, which I'm going to in just a second, let me show you this is your inventory. So if you've played Dark Souls, you know that this is just really, really not that great. I'm going to be honest with you. I like having everything laid out for me right in front of me, so I can actually use it without having to think too much about whether or not I'm going to, you know, what I'm going to be putting on, what I'm going to wear, and all that stuff. So, okay, it's also a rotational menu, so if you use the directional pad rather than the trigger, the joystick, it actually kind of isn't very easy to get to, like, your armor. In fact, if you use the directional pad, those are the only ones they can get to, or those four. I prefer they just given us a regular inventory menu. So, you have a whole bunch of weapons if you buy the DLC, which is what I did, because I was kind of dumb, and I probably shouldn't have done that. You can see that there's weight, and there's energy, and there's damage, but it's all kind of hard to see comparatively. It's up there. Let me go ahead and use my mouse real quick. Is it gonna let me? No, it isn't. Okay, well, there you go. Up in the top right there, you can see the damage, the power, energy, weight, and all that stuff. And down in the bottom left, you can see weight again. They want you to be under a quarter weight to move your fastest, unlike in Dark Souls where it just doesn't matter. So long as you're below 70, you're set. You know, 70% or less, and you're fine. If you're above 50, you move a little bit slower, but below 50 is like ideal, really, for most people using armor and for any kind of weight problems. I am going to go ahead, and you can see that the models are pretty cool. I really do like the art style. I like all the art styles so far. So that weight is 3.5, 1.5. Wow, why is this so much heavier? Does it do more damage? No, it doesn't. It does less. Weird. So this one does the most damage. It's also fairly slow, but I'll show you that in a second. First, I'm going to go ahead and put on some other armor because I can, and because I want to see what it looks like. Okay, so he's got... Well, the weight's going to be heavier, but let's take a look at what it looks like. That's pretty cool looking. I'll give you that. Alright. It's going to weigh exactly the same, but I'm going to put it on because it looks cool. Yeah, they all look like they weigh the same, but because it kind of looks cool, I'm going to go ahead and try to put it on. Oh, slightly better armor on that one. And then finally this one. Cool. Doesn't look like there's anything else to be putting on. So that's your inventory screen, and you can see, like I said, the models look pretty awesome. The blocking animation's alright. But when I go into this next section, you're going to see what kind of the problem with the combat is. Alright, there's a guy. First off, I've got the gamma turned way up. Right, come on out. Come on up. I want to show everybody what you do. So the telegraph, that's the first thing you probably notice when you play, is that the telegraph on enemies is just stupid. Everybody moves really slow. But they hit you even though they're moving slow. It's very strange. I'll go ahead and get hit. It doesn't feel like I got hit. I mean, I know I did, but it just doesn't feel like it. And when I hit somebody else, it really doesn't, like, they don't react the same way they do in Dark Souls. Their animations just aren't very clear on whether or not they're actually getting hit by your weapon. And I tried a thief or rogue or, you know, light armor wearing fast person, and I gotta be honest with you, there's no reason to play one. You end up having to block everything. Because dual wielding, unlike in Dark Souls where they have dual wield weapons of some kind, in this one there doesn't seem to be any point at all to dodging and using two weapons at once. Oh, yeah, what a jerk. That's fine. Just die. I do like how heavy this weapon feels on this guy.
We will choose death before it chooses us.
Okay, so another thing that really kind of bothers me about this game comparatively, and I know I keep comparing it, and maybe it's a good game otherwise, I'm going to keep playing it anyway, is the sound of the enemies. They'll make a lot of noise after they die. Nice. That was kind of cool. They'll make a lot of noise after they die, which is really confusing because you're expecting to hear other enemies, you know? You're expecting to hear live enemies, not dead ones. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that if you've got like any kind of stereo on or anything like that. That's really confusing to hear another enemy while it's dying. You know, I always think that something's going to be sneaking up on me in Dark Souls if I hear an enemy. I guess I'll just get used to it, but it's definitely a little annoying. It's not something I would have done myself if I had had a choice or the know-how to make a game. I definitely would have been a little bit more careful about how the sounds show up. Cool, I got the key to get into the door up top. You guys didn't even know it was locked, sorry about that. So that's the other thing. Items are kind of ugly looking on the floor, on the ground. I don't like how they look. And then there's this thing which hasn't opened yet, but I will come back for it once I beat the boss, if I beat the boss. And we got this guy.
Whatever happens, Antanas can save us. Please, be safe.
Alright, you can see down on the left, there's your stamina, that's the yellow bar. it's nowhere near as visible in the bottom left than it is in the top right, as in Dark Souls. That's another design, choice that I'm not... I don't really like it. I kind of would prefer that they had just left it more visible in the top right, or top left even. Because that's where I'm usually looking when I'm fighting somebody. I'm not looking down here. Oh my god, that roll is so slow. I'm usually looking on the top right or top left. Or I'm looking at somebody. Ooh, that was kind of nice. With most enemies, I notice when you try and dodge them, there's really no point in trying to dodge them. It just walk around their swing is usually the best way to do it. And that's been so far. I haven't fought too many enemies. Just this first couple rooms here, and then because I got the key, I went through here. I'm going to skip this cinematic again because I figure if you're going to actually play this game, you might want to see it yourself. For fuck's sake. There he is. So this guy is a pain in the butt. Why is he a pain in the butt? The telegraph on his moves is stupid. It's just, they just... If you're not using a shield like I am right now, he is incredibly hard to fight. You also can't hit him from the side as easy as you would in some other game. Like, with Gunder, I just felt like I was hitting him all the time, but I was also getting hit really, really hard, so it was a nice trade-off, I thought. You know, you have to be careful about your placement and all that stuff. Alright, so the battle with this guy doesn't look too terrible. I know it doesn't. If you're going to be playing a melee character, a brawler, it's actually probably going to be fine. If you have heavy armor, you're probably going to be alright. Because so far this has actually been a lot easier than anything else I've played. With the rogue, you kind of have to... God, it's such a pathetic fucking dodge. It's also hard to tell exactly where his swing ends and where it doesn't. Like, with Dark Souls it seemed to be very natural. Like, I probably would have got hit by that in Dark Souls. In this, I'm not sure. I'm really not. It seems really close in. But he seems to have a very, like, large arc for what he swings and how it hits you. Like, if you get, like, back around to his left elbow a little bit, to about here, if he had swung that... let's see if he'll do it, because he will, eventually. That, yeah, if you're about... If you're not directly behind him, you're going to get hit by him. That's kind of what it feels like. So, if you don't have a shield, this guy can be a real pain in the butt. Also, I wouldn't recommend hitting him twice, because it's just a waste. Got one health potion left. So, in Dark Souls also, if you've played it a little bit, you know that you probably want to try and swing around to the right-hand side of people. And so far, on this guy, I guess that works. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend trying to dodge with, Uh-oh. Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend dodging with this little armor on. Alright. He's kinda ugly. Also fat. I feel like I'm playing some kind of weird, like, anime game where the more you beat somebody up, the more their armor falls off. Alright, so another thing to note is that I don't see any stagger yet. I don't see, like, hitting somebody and then having them stagger yet. It's just weird that if I hit somebody on the shield in this game, I automatically stagger. Just a little bit. That's very strange. So it's something hard to get used to, honestly. See how I staggered a bit? Very odd. So there's no point in using a, so far, and not in this. Oh boy. Oh man, yep. Okay, so that didn't work at all. I kind of wanted to see if a roll to him would work at all, but it doesn't. Yeah, see how far back I was? That's some kind of ridiculous weapon arc right there. I'll just back off until he finishes his moveset, because he's going to do something crazy, I'm sure. Okay. I don't know, man. That's some weird stuff. Like, how close... Maybe I just suck, but so far I'm really not liking the way the combat feels in this game. I mean, certainly compared to Dark Souls. I know that's what they were trying to emulate. Wow. Wow. Look how far back I was. I understand this is probably some kind of a projectile move, but you can see how frustrating that would be to go into this thinking that it's going to be as responsive as something like Dark Souls, and then just have it be, well, frankly, kind of clunky. I'm still going to end up playing this game because it is a beautiful looking game, and, you know, I have a feeling that if I get better at it, I'll end up enjoying it more, just like in Dark Souls, but it's simply nowhere near as responsive. And there's no obvious sprint button. There's a bunch of things that are just kind of annoying. Oh yeah, and something else that's really kind of annoying is that you can't change. You literally cannot change the way the controls work. I mean, there's two modes. This one is the closest you can get to Dark Souls, but you can't change the way, like what your buttons on your controller do. There's only two modes, and I guess this one works okay. This dodge is at least B. Maybe you didn't see that, but it's also kind of interesting how unresponsive your block animation is, comparatively. It's a big shield, so maybe it's just taking him a while. Maybe if I had a smaller shield, he'd be quicker to get that thing up. And again, I'm not a huge fan of how easy it is for him to hit me. Like, his arc is just so insane. I'm in the back, like, 45 degree or 90 degree angle of his back, and I'm getting hit. Like, yeah, that's stupid. That is just stupid. It is. It's dumb. I know. It's just a game. I'll get better at it, but oh, man. Oh, okay, cool. I like how him blowing off his armor, like, you know, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is somehow something that's going to make me explode backwards. It's also kind of funny how I lean that direction when I'm moving around him. Like, what is that? Like, I'm stuck to him or something. Like, I lean backwards. Look at that. Like, he's like, ah! Why would you do that? That is an unnatural way to move. Oh boy. Okay, cool, it didn't explode that time. Just use it. I don't know how much the health potion actually, like, heals. I guess I could probably check that out in the... Yeah, I'm gonna do that for the last one. Restores your health. I'm just gonna assume that it just restores everything. Yeah, because, I mean, it looks like it kind of does. And you can go two-handed, you can go, you know, two weapons as well. It's not as intuitive as in Dark Souls, in that you just hit one button and you're good to go and you can go right back to your shield. I will try and show you right now. Yeah, there it is. It's right button on the directional pad. So it's super strange. It hits a little bit better, but to go back to that, you don't hit Y, you hit the D-pad, which is right near where you're moving. So you're never going to change in the middle of a battle, not without some pretty fancy, you know, finger work. My thumbs are already in pain having to hold down the directional pad. I mean, sorry, the joypad, joystick, for as long as I have. Okay, here we go. I like how the more you hurt him, the more he's like, screw this armor, I don't need this armor. Oh, that dodge is so pathetic. And so it just keeps going. He doesn't stop. It doesn't look like he stops when he does that. He just keeps going until he gets you. Incredibly annoying. Oh, it doesn't do all of it. It's about, that's at 50%. Okay, so he stops after about, I don't know, it's like 5 swings or so, 5 rotations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, it's 5. Okay. Now one more. One more. There it is. He's dead. I'll show you this cutscene, guys. Well, that's... okay. That's a cool looking shoulder pad, man. Also, it floats. That's not cool. Floating shoulder pads are something from like Warhammer. Don't do that. Don't have floating shoulder pads. Don't do Warcraft shoulder pads either. Alright. Well, I beat him. That's it. It was a little tough even on the brawler. But that should give you an idea. If you're going to be buying this game, just understand that it isn't Dark Souls. It is fun. I'm going to give you that. Like, so far, I've enjoyed the first couple minutes of this game. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not Dark Souls. So if you compare it to that, you're going to hate it. You are. I'm doing my best to be unbiased about this. Once I learn the game a little bit more and really get into it, if it remains consistent, like as in, you know, not every enemy... what I'm saying is every enemy has the same kind of swing and the same kind of range, and their weapons actually hit you when they're supposed to, which it's not as good as Dark Souls, but it's close. I probably will end up enjoying this. But yeah, in conclusion, the sounds are bad comparatively. They really need to like fix it so you can hear enemies. The gamma is way too low by default. You can't change the controls, and dodging and blocking is very strange. But is it a bad game? No, not at all. I think it's actually a pretty good game. It's just going to take some getting used to, and it's definitely not Dark Souls. So anyway, that's the video, guys. It's my short little spiel about Lords of the Fallen. I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, let me know why I'm a complete jackass in the comments. Feel free. And I guess I'll see you guys another time.